How's it going, everybody? Today we are Everyday Nerds, and today we are talking about quite possibly a really good movie. Not the greatest movie. That's coming up next. Well, soon.
No. We talk about the greatest movies. Those are later down the months.
Yeah, later down the months. Those are coming up. These are just good movies, in our opinion.
This is just a little teaser to the greatest three movies ever made. This is just a little teaser. That's all this is.
So, what's your two favorite parts? Let's start with that.
Well, I like how you don't even introduce us for one, just besides we're everyday nerds. And then just out of nowhere. So what's your favorite two parts? Well, from which movie? Because you didn't even describe to them what movie we're talking about.
Well, we are starting with The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey. Then we're going to go to the second one. Then we're going to go to the third one. And then we will be
Desolation of Smaug, and then the Battle of Five Armies.
Yep, and then we will be going to... Then we will be reviewing Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings.
After this short break.
Yep, and then after Fellowship, it's the Two Towers, and after the Two Towers, it is Return of the King.
Might sneak a game in there, too. Really
Yeah.
depends on how you want to go in there, because the Third Age was a great game. But we're not talking about that right now.
But I am Global Outcast, and my co-host is the ever-lovely...
Anime Shogun. It took him forever to fucking introduce us here, just right off the bat. We're everyday nerds. So what's your two favorite moments?
Well, get it right. It's the Anime Shogun. You yell at me for doing that, so I have to get back at you.
Yeah, today's one of those days that I don't give a shit.
So I watched the movie today. What is your two favorite parts?
I think one of the most memorable parts for me was when the dwarfs show up.
That was one of my favorite parts.
And they start, like, singing.
Yep, that was gonna be one of my favorite parts.
Like, for me, that was more of, like, a memorable thing. And then he was all freaking out over all of his food being basically gone, and they basically restocked his food in, like, one night, and he's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Alright, since you took that part, I think my first part will have to be his riddles with Gollum.
Oh, the riddles with Gollum. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yep. I liked the introduction of Gollum and how he was all like, filthy goblins is... I can't do the voice, otherwise I do the voice a lot.
Andy Serkis does an amazing voice.
He is a godsend when it comes to voices.
You know, we'll get into that when we get into Star Wars, but anyway... There's a meme where you see him literally force grab the lightsaber when he's in the mocap suit, and they're all like, "Wait a minute, what?"
There's actually a fun fact about one of the orcs when we get to that movie, which I will explain when we get to that movie.
Right, but yeah, for me, I'd have to say it was them chanting or singing.
Yep.
I think was a good one.
Your second one?
How they were taking bets on if Bilbo was going to show up or not.
I liked how Gandalf won.
Right?
I think my second favorite part would have to be the Brown Wizard.
Radagast the Brown.
Yep.
Radagast.
Yep, anything that having to do with him, he was always my favorite. Half of that has to do with the fact that he's also a Time Lord, but that's neither here nor there.
Wait, what?
He plays the Doctor. The guy who plays Radagast the Brown is also a doctor. He also plays the Doctor.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell are you talking about?
That's like half the reason why I like him. The other half the reason he's just so kooky and fun. He's
Yeah,
lost
I
his
think that's
fucking.
why a lot of people like him.
He lost his fucking marbles. So if you
Yeah,
could,
my second part would be like when they're taking bets.
yeah. So if you had, so if you could, so if you could explain one part of the movie in like better detail, what part of the movie would you want to explain more?
I would probably go more into the lore of uh the White Orc.
Okay. Okay.
Like that whole situation, I think I'd be doing more of that.
Okay. Yeah. You really don't see much more white orcs in the Lord of the Rings franchises.
Not even so much that, it's just more of like there is a whole untold story there.
Yeah.
Like that is literally a gold mine for a story.
Yeah. I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard somewhere that orcs are just defaced elves.
No, that was the Uruk-hai.
Okay, okay.
The Uruk-hai was you took orcs, actual orcs, and you bred them with elves.
Okay.
That was the Uruk-hai.
Okay.
Because you actually had mountain orcs. Mm-hmm. Because there was orcs and there was goblins.
Yep.
And to make the Uruk-hai, they basically crossbred elves with orcs.
Yeah.
Crossbred may not have been the word to go with there, but you get the point.
Yeah. I think I'd like to go more into the necromancer.
Well, you know who the necromancer is, don't you?
If I remember correctly, that's Sauron.
Yes. It's just Sauron.
There's a story.
That's all the necromancer is there. It's just Sauron.
Yeah, yeah, because there's a story between him and Morgoth, the guy who he follows. There's a story there that I would.
That's his master, not who he follows. Like, be careful how you word that, because when you word that, you could be referring to like a religion, and he doesn't follow him like a religion. It was his master.
Touche.
That's why Mordor is so big as it is, because essentially, from my understanding, was underneath Mount Doom was where Morgoth was.
Yeah. There's a story there that I would love to watch. The story between Morgoth and Sauron and how Sauron became the necromancer.
That's what I'm talking like. That's why I'd like to see them do like a second movie, like the Second Age or even the First Age.
Yeah. So what characters are you excited to see in the second movie when we review the next one?
Ooh, Legolas.
I've heard he wasn't in the original book, which I'm excited to. Which once I get to that, I'm excited to hear about.
Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Smaug.
Smaug was good. Smaug definitely had a very important role.
Yeah.
Throughout the movies.
Yeah, he really did. I liked, because one thing I've learned about doing some research about the J.R.R. Tolkien universe is with these movies that they did versus the Rings of Power, is they're not trying to change anything. They're respecting the franchise.
Yeah,
and you can you can see in the Hobbit, in the Lord of the Rings franchise, they're not changing anything. They're respecting the franchise. They're respecting the work, and it shows. And I don't think even Christopher Lee would be in it if they didn't respect the work, because he's a huge fan.
Yeah, I was actually so much surprised to see him.
I was too in the first one when I first watched it. I was too.
I mean, I was happy to see him, but seeing how much of a fan he is was just awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that also reminds me. I'd also like to see how he became from the White Wizard to a follower of Sauron.
Power.
True.
The unspoken thing that you don't realize with it is power. He looked at it like he wanted to essentially like secure his future, and the way he looked at it was there was literally no other way to what's the word I'm looking for? Like securing his future in a sense, if that makes any sense to you. Like I'm trying to think of the word to use for it, but
Yeah, I don't know much. I've only really ever watched the movies. This is my first time ever reading the books.
I've read the books. I did not read much of the Hobbit, but I did read like the actual like first book, the second book, the third book.
Yeah. So you know more about this shit than I do.
I do, but I don't.
That'd be awesome to That'd be awesome to get a Lord of the Rings expert on here one day. Just talk about everything Lord of the Rings. What's one thing you would change if you could about this movie?
Probably add a little bit more to the journey than essentially just having them fucking walking everywhere.
Yeah. I think I'd add a little bit of more fight scenes between the orcs and the dwarves.
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Although that scene between the mountain trolls and them were actually pretty good.
That actually gets referenced in one of the movies.
Yeah, I know, the first one. During the birthday party.
Not only that, in the first one, you actually see them come across where the three were turned to stone.
Huh, I can't wait to watch that when we get to it. That'll be fun.
Because in the Fellowship, when they leave the Shire, Frodo is kind of like, son of a bitch, he was right.
I love Gandalf and his weird trickeries and stuff.
Yeah, him and his fucking riddles and shit.
I love the fact in the movie, because in most fantasy movies with wizards, I like wizards, but in most fantasy movies, the wizards they always do these hand movements and things, and it seems to be like they're drawing power by making them seem more big. Whereas Gandalf, it seems to me he's kind of keeping it low as a surprise.
Oh, yeah. You don't actually see literally. I found this out when I played one of the games. I was playing one of my games, right? It was Battle for Middle Earth 2.
Okay.
And I had found out that excuse me, that Gandalf has a move called the Word of Power.
Huh.
To give you just a blank idea of what it looks like. It is literally like a nuke going off.
Huh. Well, yeah, he doesn't.
That is his ability. Is literally like a nuke going off, and it is ridiculous.
Huh. Never really knew that. Well, because towards the end of the movie, when the orcs had them on the trees, he did 2 spells, and the first spell was, I really don't know if it was a spell or not. He told a moth or a butterfly or whatever the fuck it was to go get, the giant eagles to help. Sent a message. And then he sent a couple pine cones on fire he had everyone started throwing the pine cones. that were on fire down at the orcs. And it wasn't no flashy thing like that. It was just quick little, here's to start the fire, make the fire go long, make the fire go bigger, and then toss. Which I thought was awesome. Because to me, that makes you think, what other kind of tricks does he have up his sleeve? So what other character what character did you like the most in the first movie?
The brothers.
The brothers? I liked the fat guy.
Gimli's grandpa or Gimli's dad.
He was a really, really rotund guy. That's all I remember. The reason why I liked him is they threw one piece of food on him and he broke the freaking bench.
Yeah, I think that was Gimli's father.
I don't think that's Gimli's father. I think Gimli's father is... Because I know he's the young pup and his...
So just to get... Because you're all... So... There's Gloin, I believe, who is the Master of Moria. He is the white... I believe he's the white-beard one, like the Keeper of Knowledge. I believe.
His father was Gloin.
Yes, and Gloin was a bigger guy, because Gloin had a locket of Gimli and his wife.
Yeah. I just remember the really, really, really rotund guy.
Yeah, that was, like I said, it was either Gimli, or not Gimli, but I think that Gloin, because Gloin is the one that has the locket full of their... But anyway, my favorite is the brothers.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, yep, okay. Yeah, the brothers were really good. I like the brothers. I'm actually kind of excited to see that locket scene in the second one. To be honest.
I finished my drink.
Kind of excited to see that second one. And to see the locket scene in the second one, because you get to learn a little bit about Gimli.
Yeah, because it's Gloin who shows it, and I believe it's in the second one, and they're in Fangorn Forest. No, Mirkwood. It was Mirkwood that they're in. Because there's the webs.
I think they were in some sort of jail.
Yeah, they entered Mirkwood because it was Thranduil. I butchered that, but Legolas's father is the one in charge of Mirkwood. And Mirkwood, half of the whole forest was turning dark because of the necromancer and the spiders were coming down from the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fangorn Forest is the one with the Ents. Mirkwood is the home of Legolas, which had the spiders. They were traveling through Mirkwood, and Legolas and a bunch of the other elves popped up because there was so much bad blood between the elves and the dwarves. Yeah. And Legolas made an insult to Gloin with his necklace, and he's like, "Is that your wife? Or is that your son or your wife?" And he's like, "That's my wife, I believe." And he took so much offense to it.
I like how Legolas was a dick at this in the Hobbit series.
Well, yeah, he was. It was due to the bad blood between dwarves and elves, because the elves, there was a treaty in place between all of them, and when Smaug had first tried to go for the mountain, and they wanted to keep it, they had recalled on the elves to help, but seeing how Smog essentially are how Smog was attacking everybody, Thandriel was like, "Nope, I'm not going to subjugate my people to this."
Yeah. By the way, the fat guy is Bomber.
Oh, okay. Because there's one that ate the whole block of cheese.
Yeah.
That's who you're referring to.
Yeah, I like Bomber.
Like they're like when he's like, "I'll take the cheese or the Gouda," and he's like, he eats it by the block.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
That's
I
who you're referring to.
Yeah. Yeah, but I knew about the bad blood between the elves and the dwarves. Because it makes a good. I liked in the beginning of it when it talked about how Moria, how they found the heart, and when Smog came.
Yep, the heart of the mountain.
Yep. Then when Smaug came, they were cast out of the castle. They had nowhere else to go, and then it shows up, and then it kind of leads into Bilbo Baggins and everything like that. You see a little bit of Frodo before, like shows moments before the first movie, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
And it shows. I like stuff like that because it shows a little bit of the details into the life of that kind of world, and it shows the detail that you can you can put into it, and the details you can miss. And one thing I actually would like to see more of is the dwarves kind of homestead.
Well, but you do see the dwarves' homestead.
Well, I mean, like their lifestyle, their what their daily lives are like, shit like that.
You do. They're miners. That is their day-to-day lives. In the very beginning, they talk about how they literally mined in there because that's how they found the heart of the mountain.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I'm talking about like if Peter Jackson did.
You're talking about just everyday stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I see. I have to disagree. I don't want to see that.
I think not like a whole series, maybe like a mini series or some shit like that. I think would be interesting.
I'm gonna have to disagree on that.
I think it'd be interesting, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to disagree on that because in that time frame, I'm good with seeing how their life is now as miners. I'd be more interested to see how in like the later movies how they came across the Balrog.
Yeah. Well, it says in the books that they dug down too deep, and they woke his ass
Right,
up.
but you don't really see how. Like, I want to see that first encounter.
Yeah.
Like, were a bunch of them butchered and killed?
That'd be a great like miniseries type thing.
That's what I'm talking. Like, introduce the Balrog instead of just basically sitting there saying about the Balrog. Then boom, you've got the Balrog.
Yeah. That'd be a really good miniseries to do.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is there any scenes in the particular next one you're excited to talk about?
Um,
Well, let me rephrase that. Is there any scenes that you're excited to watch again and talk about?
Definitely the ending more, the introduction to Lake Town.
Yep. Those are all good. I can't remember if you see more Gollum or not.
I want to say kinda.
I'm excited to see. God, what he's the dude that kind of looks like. He played Gaston in the live action Beauty and the Beast movie. I can't remember his name, but
Luke Evans.
Thank
He
you.
plays Dracula in Dracula Untold.
Great movie. Not what we're going to talk about today, though. But yes, I'm excited to see him. I remember he's in it. I don't remember what character he plays.
He plays the there's a name for it. It's not the Fisher, but something else.
Because he has some badass scenes.
Yeah, he's related to. His people were called the Dragon Slayers.
Yeah.
Ferryman, I believe, is what they called him, was the Ferryman or something along those lines.
Something along those lines. We'll see it in the next one when we watch it. But I have some questions for the viewers. What are some of your favorite scenes from the first one? Anything you liked, anything you disliked about this movie, anything you guys would want to change? Leave them down in the comments. Anything you want to add to the viewers?
Yeah, fucking hurry the fuck up and let's end this shit already.
I am Global Outcast, and that has been the Anime Shogun. Say bye, Anime Shogun.
Fuck you.